Okay, we got Derrick, aka RPG Master, up against Rasposo. Rasposo playing Lytra, which is a commander we haven't seen too much of. Although, that said, we saw in recent tournament sets, we saw Sigma going Lytra and making it work. So, you know, we've definitely seen some representation of high level play coming out from this commander. And of course, Rhomb can be very strong in certain circumstances. I think there are like probably better commanders to do what Rhomb does, but yeah, we'll see. Okay, we're seeing both commanders kind of do the same thing, grabbing a heal at the same time. Is this gonna let them take down the village? Will Rhomb at 70% take down a village at 60? No, actually, that's not gonna work out. And I guess that means that Lytra also won't be able to do the same thing. Although Lytra at 79, ooh, are we gonna see our first example of some kind of minor FTA on this map? Potentially. No, actually, it doesn't take down the village, funnily enough. Of course, the health values are slightly different, but I think that's like an adjustment the map makers can make. But it's very difficult to balance FTA, STA stuff. Or I should just say turn advantage, honestly, as opposed to both acronyms. But anyway, Rasposo, are they going to take down this village? I mean, their opponent did, so I guess it makes sense for them to do. Oh no, they're actually just going to be really aggressive on this right hand side. Lytra's going to walk away, recognizing that, hey, maybe like I shouldn't go up against this enemy knight. And yeah, both knights now getting into position to threaten. Nice sword crit coming in there, but I think Rasposo can kind of push this back. The double dogs are actually doing a good job. Their opponent went knights on the left hand side, so yeah, these are actually going to be able to put in quite a bit of work. And yeah, Rasposo just kind of pulling back. Moving commander to center, just like doesn't want to have to deal the side village, and is just going to comfortably sit on an econ loss, which you would think isn't like a ideal situation, but ooh, no, actually no. Now they lose the fortified, I think this has suddenly become a much bigger deal. And Rasposo just needs to do something in this position. Alright, spears are going to come back, they're going to be able to slow push these knights away. Rasposo falling further and further behind on economy, and Lytra is just going to continue to move over to the right hand side. This I'm very intrigued by. Do they have some kind of play in mind? I guess they could go for some like big rush or reposition on their knights, you know, twist them around so they get double knight crit on the enemy commander or something along those lines. I guess we'll see. Rhomb is in a position where a sword suicide can take place, so that's a scary thing that can happen, but I don't know. Ooh. Frogs in a less than ideal position right now, but yeah, I don't know. We're not seeing much come out. Rasposo just kind of shuffling some units forwards. They've got low health dog, low health swords. Okay, that's gonna move forwards. I do think the dragon get yoinked into the fortified. I wonder if we're gonna see that come out. Alright, big mage who comes in, just wants to keep Rhomb alive. There are some suicides that could take place here, but they're in an awkward order, so I don't know if we'll see them. Okay, Rasposo though gonna continue to push stuff back. Alright, gonna yoink this dragon, do some damage. That puts it in mage kill range. It's not where you want your dragon to be. And Rasposo's just like, actually, I just can't threaten an enemy commander. I'm not going to. Alright. I'm gonna groove, sets up a sword crit. There's like a huge advantage of this groove is it allows you to do things like that. We're gonna see tier 1, but that's still one-shot spears on planes. Okay, that's really good. Yeah, Rhomb's groove, strong when used, but takes some setup and of course only lasts for one turn, so. And the question here is, you know, is there anything Rasposo can do against Derrick's onslaught? And the answer to that question might very well be no. Okay, ooh, nice use of the frog though. Very slick play there coming at Rasposo. And we're gonna see a lot of this, I think. Like, this army and idea of like how to play the game is built around like shuffling things around. You got a commander that does that, you got a frog that does that. Got a wagon out as well. Lots of mobility tools in this army. But Derrick just has brute force. Double dragon, triple knight, quadruple knight actually, I should say. Yeah, they're just gonna kind of run forward, chase down this army. Rhomb's just gonna continue to be like this brute force. Cannot really be stopped. More and more damage coming in. Alright, what can happen here? Lytra. Oh, not close to tier 2. Hasn't had a good opportunity to build groove in a while. Okay. Gonna see some combat coming in now, but it's so little really. Alright, Harpy gonna move over to this left hand side, gonna help deal with these knights and these dragons. But yeah, there's just like not enough force from Rasposo. Derrick's just done a little bit too well at like getting a unit lead. And keeping an econ lead as well. Holding both of these villages here and both the center villages, like yeah, that's a 400 income leads just from those two. And of course messing with your opponent's fortified is like Derrick's just had a lot more money for a lot longer. And this is a pretty high econ map, so that lumber mill in the back there, yeah, generating a ton of money. What can Rasposo do? Iron Nick and Hex. I guess they're gonna try and go for some kind of aggression here. Deals a nice little bit of chip damage this night, but that's not a huge amount. Lytra's so far away from tier 2. A really long time to get there. And maybe it's not even necessarily the groove charge that's the problem, it's just a lack of opportunity to get into actual fights and cause damage and build groove. But yeah, Witch Hex came in, but Mage Heal. Ooh, that's a kill right there. Oh, and yeah, more and more damage gonna come in now. And this is just looking worse and worse as these dogs come in. And they just straight up wreck swords if they hit them. You don't need to do any fancy crit stuff or anything like that. Just run up the dogs, hit your opponent's swords, and then all of a sudden, like, they just lack the army to fight back. Now, there is an opportunity here for Rasposo to get a nice counterattack this turn. The question is, are they going to see it? Yeah, they're going to get a dog crit. Nicely done. Lytra's going to get killed. So we're not going to see a Lytra groove just yet. I think you just save for tier 2, you try and get the trades you can. Just accept that the dragon got a kill. Ooh, Witch is actually just going to straight up hit that dragon. Alright, yeah, enemy Witch in range of Mage. That's absolutely a trade you take like any day. Nice little pull there with the frog. Gonna get a bit of damage. A little bit concerned that the frog's vulnerable to getting hit now, but it is what it is. Okay, that's gonna go down. And ooh, Derrick's just gonna get a lot of damage in return. Okay, Lytra kind of close to Groove, but not close enough. And I have my concerns about how much potential there is for a comeback here. I think these dragons are just causing a little bit too much havoc. 3 of them on the field now. And every time they hit something, they're killing it. So Derrick has got a massive unit count lead. Rasposo, 179. They're healing what they can. They have basically no money at this point. Lost the fortified village. That's their opponent got a huge lead, and that means they're really drained as far as econ goes. 200% on Lytra. Can she do anything this turn? And she might not even be able to get to Groove because she has to run in to use it, and that's a big risk of just dying. There's so much heavy hitting and indirect damage units. This dragon's just gonna keep going and doing more and more. Frog gonna get hit, but Frog and Forest is actually very tanky against Dragon, as we were finding out now. And I think Derrick just has a bit too much of a lead. And I mean, the hope is we get to see a cool Lytra groove. She does something really fancy, but I think that one tier 1 groove earlier was just enough. Just like pushed the already slightly in the lead Derrick into like a more solid lead. We're going to continue to see Rasposo kind of push out a bit more. But there's just like too much threat for Lytra to be able to do anything. Now the frog's standing on a road? Okay, it's next to a ton of mages at least, so if anything tries to kill this, like in terms of like dragon for example. I do wonder at this point, if you're Derrick, do you just go and like take the port? That might be the play. Just like mess with your opponent. You've got as long as you want. There's no rush. Dog comes in, almost gets the kill. Dragons are just going to reposition into the center. So they're not going to go for any kind of cheeky, like I'm just going to knock out one of your production buildings. They're just going to slowly push forwards. And what can Lytra just can't do anything. I was gonna ask what she could do, but I didn't even finish. Just like, just can't do anything. Oh, as I say that, tier 2's coming out. What are we gonna see? Some units getting pushed forwards. Mage heal comes out. We're gonna see, I guess, some damage coming in. These knights getting killed, but not even flagstone tiles. Absolutely brutal. Mage gets pulled forwards. That's gonna hit an archer, which is not the most effective thing ever. And Rasposo forced into using a very underwhelming, I would say, Lytra groove. Like, the play was kind of cool, but not getting enough, unfortunately. And the army has moved forward. Like, Derrick is just going to go to town this turn. So much damage is going to come in. First sword goes down. Moves. Okay, some of the back units forward. Makes sense. You might as well do the obvious stuff first. Okay. More and more damage comes in. Alright, that goes down. Yeah, we're just going to see so many units die this turn. Spear going down there as well. And sword. Oh, actually lives on 1%. Okay. So Derrick, I thought they would get a better turn than they did, but I mean, this is still a really good turn. 199. Oh, alright, they have to hit something. Okay, they go for the commander. Oh, double dragons hitting commander? I don't think tier 2 is actually going to kill here. It'll come close. Oh, it does kill. Okay, never mind. I was wrong. Okay, and yeah. Rasposo forced into a position where they had to use Groove when they really didn't want to. Didn't get that much value off, and then Derrick just responds with like, hey, I'm ahead in every way. I've got my tier 2 active now. Let's just go. And ends the game. I did forget that tier 2 buffs damage a little bit. I think in that circumstance it's normally like 44% damage that commander would do. without any kind of groove or anything, but no. Rhomb gonna need to take full advantage of the tier 2 damage and gets the kill and finishes the game. So really nicely done there. And yeah, I mean, it really just came down to, I think Derrick had a little bit of an advantage. Rasposo pulled away from the left when they really didn't want to. Rhomb was able to groove to just kind of secure the lead more than more than anything else, and then just kept pushing and pushing and had dragons and knights and like really heavy hitting units. And Rasposo, they had a frog. They did some really cool plays with the frog. They just didn't get enough value, and unfortunately Derrick was able to just get lots of unit picks where they could, which meant that they just weren't getting punished for that, and ultimately they win. So yeah, nicely done there.